that works. I don't know if this is even set up. Alright, looks like we are good to go. Let's test it out here. We're going to get the old backup audio rolling here. Hopefully this headset microphone is working pretty good. I think it does work pretty good. Better than this little pop one. So now I've got the headset with the dedicated mic, and now we've got this as the backup, doing just audio. So let's fire it up, and hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Level Up Lando, the show that takes you inside the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, and the occasional success that is the everyday challenge of my life as I pursue my never-ending effort of trying to level up. I am your host, Landon Like a Drone, coming to you from Aspen Drone Company, right here in my bedroom, also known as Truscott Studios, in always lovely Aspen, Colorado. Today is Thursday, June 11th, and it is 1:07 p.m. And I had what I'm calling a perfect day yesterday. I'll get into that in just a minute. But before I do, let me catch you up. So it's been a few days. The last time I sat down was a pretty hard day. It's been hard lately. I've been going through the ringer, mostly financially, as tends to be the case with this show, but in even worse fashion, it's spread. The financial burden has spread into now affecting my emotional state. My physical state wasn't particularly great. I hurt myself somehow exercising. I was doing chest presses, and something happened where like it felt like I broke my collarbone. I looked it up, and it said that I probably just inflamed a tendon that is attached to the collarbone. But there was a few days there where I couldn't really exercise, and my body was injured. So that then affects my emotional state and my mental state. So it's been hard. And despite it being particularly hard and affecting more than just the money, which is the money part being hard is something I'm used to, which is why I'm able to kind of maintain sort of a state of, joy and happiness despite having to overcome that particular struggle. So when I lose that joy and happiness, when I do feel particularly emotionally disturbed and upset and bothered, it starts to impact my whole reality. And what I normally am pretty good at maintaining as far as an upbeat mentality unravels real quickly. I let go of the effort that I have to put in to maintain it. And once I kind of get on the just fuck life and fuck the world and fuck the universe bandwagon, the cracks in my reality start to show real quick, and I start to have there's a lot that I can get upset about real quickly, as opposed to being positive and optimistic. So I had a few days of suffering and having a pity party, and fortunately for myself, that's usually all it takes is like maybe one full day, two, hopefully at the most. Every now and again, I'll go into a depression, but normally, if it's just me throwing a pity party, it's a day, and then the next day I'll get right back into work. It doesn't pay to stay there, and so I've done it enough to not. I've learned my lesson to take action when you're feeling that way, when you're feeling disappointed or sad or suffering. The way to overcome that is by taking action. That said, one of the things I just learned in this last experience of going through it was, Layla Hormozy likes to say, fuck your mood. And I do understand what she means. And for the most part, I can work through it. But sometimes my mood really impacts my ability to take action. When you're sad, when you're depressed, if you're sick, um, it's hard to get off the couch, get out of bed, and to go, make cold calls and do business and sales and things where you need an energy level to you that if that's waning or lacking, the amount of energy required to overcome that desire to just do nothing is a lot. And I understand that the difference between winning and losing is your ability to overcome, but I just went through it and it was really, I was just like, I can't do this today, and I just sort of gave myself permission to take the day off. Then that rolled into Monday, and Monday I also was not as productive as I cared to be. Tuesday I was, and Wednesday I was supposed to be, and I was trying to get back into cold calling, which I just got done doing. I told myself I needed to do some cold calling before I could sit down and do a podcast because I really wanted to do the podcast first. And I was like, nope, you need to start doing the things you don't want to do. It's really important to do the things you don't want to do. And so now I'm starting to try to figure out how to gamify and like create a list of the things that I don't want to do and just do those right away at the start of my day. And I haven't done that yet, but I did do some cold calling. So I'm gonna talk about that in just a minute. But before, I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I did that before I sat down to do this, which I'm really proud of myself for doing. I didn't get a hold of anybody. I left a ton of messages, but I did it. I dialed the numbers. I got on the phone. I left the messages. I'm doing the work. I'm doing the things I don't want to do. So I'm really proud of myself for that. That's a big deal, and I'm gonna talk about that more in just a minute. But before I do, we're gonna talk about how I got there, which was through this pain and through this suffering. And in that way, one of the things that I learned along this couple of day journey here through from down and out to now pretty upbeat is I watched this video and in it like Bruce Lee said something to the effect of I'm progressing and the pain that I'm going through isn't a punishment, it's part of the process. And I was like, damn, that's helpful to me because I'm going through a lot of pain. And another video that I was watching was talking about how pain is it's lessons disguised as pain, and that pain is a teacher ultimately, and that suffering is a teacher, and that what the point and the purpose of suffering, which is something I've been asking myself a lot about lately. I've wondered, why do we suffer? Like, it's not particularly pleasant to suffer, and my suffering seems to be I have something I have to continue to endure. It's not short-lived. It's a perpetual thing. And in that way, I've kind of learned how to enjoy it to a certain degree. For the most part, I can appreciate that the suffering is what's helping me grow. But it was Rick Rubin who was saying that suffering is the purpose of suffering is to push you beyond what you are capable of. And that's exactly what I know suffering to be. But hearing it phrased that way really let me come to terms with my suffering. It really let me understand that the reason that I am suffering is because without the suffering, you would never go beyond what you're capable of. It's through the discomfort, it's through the unpleasantness, it's through the pain that you just decide to find a different level of yourself that you didn't know existed, that you would have never had to find were you not in pain and trying to alleviate yourself of it. And that's how you then access a different level of your potential. And so that really opened up my empathy for suffering and my own suffering. And I was like, oh, I need the suffering because it's what's making me better. And in that way, we can now come back to the idea that I just got done cold calling, and we're going to pat ourselves on the back a few more times for this same little win because this is a big one. I don't know what's been my problem, but I've had a real issue just picking up the phone and dialing. And again, I watched a video the other day, and this girl was talking about, she's like, when I really started to make real income with my business was 3 years in, and it was at that point in time that I looked back and I looked at what I thought I was doing, which was hard work. It was really hard work the first year. And then when I finally started making money 3 years in, I I looked back at that year, that first year where I thought I was working hard, and I realized I wasn't working hard at all. And so, in that way, there's more that I can always be doing. I can be working harder on my business. And as I start to step up the level of work that I'm doing these cold calls is a big part of that. Something I'm going to have to do a lot more. And just breaking the ice on breaking through doing something you don't want to do. And that's something I struggle with. It's something that I'm trying to find more motivation around doing and creating a routine where I'm constantly pushing to do the things that I don't want to do, and I'm doing them like right away. I'm doing them as soon as I can feel the indication of I don't want to do that, going and doing it. So that's what I'm working towards. I am not anywhere near there. But today was a little win. I broke through the ice because I actually sat down and called. I almost didn't do it. I was this close to giving. I was like, just do it. Just start calling. Because I also knew I probably wasn't going to get a hold of anybody. They were probably not going to take my call. My phone number is a 619 number. And I've called these people before. And beyond that, I was just happy to leave messages because, like I said, it was more about pushing through the I don't want to feeling. And that's been a progression of getting to that point, and to have gotten there right before this is really great. I'm proud of myself for that. That's a big one. And that then leads us into how we got there. Yesterday, so Tuesday, I was able to try to finish up with some of these jobs that I've applied to, and I haven't heard back from them, but I'm waiting to. And I left messages, and then yesterday I didn't want to bother them, so I heard back from the Theater of Aspen. They're not going to hire me as the marketing director. They're going to hire somebody with more experience, which I don't know what that means. I asked them. I was like, "What experience are you looking for that I don't have?" Because I've got a lot of experience. So, but then Wednesday, my buddy called me yesterday, and I was just sort of hanging out. Yesterday was I was supposed to start cold calling, and my friend called, and he was like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "Nothing, just hanging out." And he was like, "You want to go on a hike?" I said, "Sure." So we ended up going on this killer hike. Yesterday was one of those beautiful, perfect Aspen days. It's 75 degrees, sunny, not too many clouds in the sky. It was really, really windy, which definitely was an issue once we got to the top of the pass. But it was warm enough that it didn't matter. We had to wear the jackets a little bit on the hike, but it was warm enough that it didn't really impact the hike. So had this killer hike, drove up the pass. It's early June. Everything's starting to turn green here. The weather's finally shifted since the end of May into some beautiful, nice, warmer weather. And it's finally starting to feel like summer here. So we go on this hike, and it's the perfect distance, 4.9 miles round trip uphill this whole way. It's called Lost Man, and we did the upper Lost Man. And you go past a couple of alpine lakes. They were still frozen over. There's a stream that runs from the very top of the mountain all the way down to the trailhead. So you cross the stream a couple of times, and because it runs the whole way, it's this beautiful like hike all the way up and all the way back. I busted out the drone and flew the drone, and because of the winds, I was having a hard time getting the drone to fly back to me. The wind was like pinning it in place. It wouldn't like come. And I was just like watching the battery drain from like 36% to 30 to 26% to 20. And it finally came back where the wind died down enough for me to get it all the way back to me. And yeah, I was really relieved that I had a successful drone flight. And so that was pretty awesome. So um, then I came back from the hike after having this killer hike, flew the drone, beautiful day. Got to hang out with a friend who I haven't seen in a while. And I get back into town where I finally have cell reception. And a friend of mine texts me. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you up to?" I was like, "I just got back from doing this hike." And he's like, "Oh, man, it was a beautiful day to do a hike out there." And I was like, "It was, it really was." And he's like, "Well, I've got tickets to go see Pete Holmes at the Wheeler Opera House, some stand up comedy if you want to go. Show's in an hour." And I was just about to get dropped off at my house. So I was like, this is perfect. I've got enough time to change, eat dinner, jump on the e bike, and get back down to town for the show. And that's exactly what happened. I changed, ate dinner, rode the e bike down to town, met up with my buddy, got to see a free comedy show from a pretty high level professional comedian, Pete Holmes. He was good. He wasn't great. I did have fun. It was definitely, you know, of a funny show. It just wasn't as funny as I particularly care for it to be. The girl next to me thought everything that he was saying was hilarious, though. So she was laughing the whole show. I laughed involuntarily a few times. So to his credit, good job, Pete. Thanks for playing in Aspen. Come on back. But and it was just nice to see him, and to laugh and just. I've been thinking about doing some stand up comedy myself at one of our open mics up here, and I've been writing a little bit. So he gave me some ideas for some concepts that were kind of funny. So ultimately, it was a pretty great day. I got home after the show and was sitting on my couch and I was like, man, this was a damn near perfect day. Got to go on a killer hike, was outside in the nature pretty much all day, worked up an appetite, ate a great meal, got to go see some high level comedy at the Wheeler Opera House is built in like the late 1800s, like 1896 or something. So it's over 100 years old. And, this classic opera house. So get to go see some really high level comedy at this really great venue in this town that I love so much. And I was sitting on my couch at the end of the day, and I was like, I didn't spend a single cent, and I had basically a perfect day. And I was like, these are the days that I live in Aspen for. They don't happen every day, but it's days like today that it's like, all right, I'm glad that I didn't go to work today, and I didn't do the cold calling, and then I decided to go with the hike and taking a day off. So it worked out pretty good. Now, if you are enjoying local stories like this and you like this show, please feel free to donate. You can click this QR code here and or support the stream, buy me a coffee, and donate to the show, as well as we can throw this one up here. That one there. They all lead to the same place, which is my PayPal. This show is made by a local, myself, for locals, hopefully you, the listener. And any donations will go to basically helping me pay my rent, which is where I do the show out of. And as we progress and as I get more stable and I level up, I'll eventually start interviewing local community members and talking with them, and you'll get to know the community a little bit more. But until that time, I got myself to talk about, and there's plenty of dramas to talk about. So for now, it's a level up Lando, but soon we will get into all about Aspen. That is on its way. It is coming. And these are some of the reps that I'm getting in between now and then, just hosting the show. So if you like what I'm doing, feel free to donate. I'm going to leave that up the rest of the show. The show is community supported. So we appreciate even just your attention, whether you are just liking or hitting the bell on YouTube. That helps the algorithm. Feel free to do both. And I'll continue to produce shows for you to watch. Hopefully they're entertaining. If not, I'm doing them more for me than I am for you. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the little green book of accountability, because there's a couple things that we're going to get to cross off. I think I know we're getting to cross off cold call, which is I got to continue to do it. It's something that's a daily thing, but I started today, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Today is June 11th, 2026. And let's just flip back. We got to edit. That's another big thing. Edit. I got Steely Dead. We got Dead Floyd. We got Hunter Creek. We got the pool day. See, now the project's starting to mount up. I got to get them done. Oh, and fish. Fish Traveler's Guide. Speaking of fish, I wonder if I can share this screen. Let's see here. Music. Upload. Add a scene. Camera. Huh. Interesting. What's this? I need to learn how to use this more. This restream thing. See, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. I need to learn how to do this stuff. Screen share. Select the window. Okay, allow. So see, now I can come over to here. Whoa, no, that doesn't work. Okay, see, I'm gonna have to figure this out. This is cool though. I'm glad to be playing with it. Oh, wow. So see, will it let me? Oh, I can't see it though. Oh, yeah, it's just like, okay, stop sharing. Cool. This is cool. Add a participant. So see, I'm starting to figure this shit out. We're gonna get some people up in this screen over here, and we're gonna start doing interviews. What's this one? Okay. Show on stream. Oh, it's the comments. Oh, interesting. Very cool. This is cool. Alright, how do I exit out of this shit? No, I don't want that. Okay, so we gotta come back to this, I think. We're coming off. Yeah. Dope. Alright, I'm starting to figure it out, you guys. This is pretty sweet. Okay, so as we continue on here, we're gonna play a little music. Let's see if it picks up. So I was listening to Fish play this song earlier. I don't know if it's gonna pick it up. We're gonna give it a try. It's called Back at the Chicken Shack.
It takes 90 seconds for this
Oh.
NASA-engineered AC cool down your room. It's smaller than a toaster,
Uh-oh.
cools any room in 90 seconds, and uses just a fraction of the energy of a regular AC. This incredible invention was built by
I skipped this shit. There we go. All right. Let's see if it records this while I'm doing the. All right, we got a little background music while we're doing Little Green Book of Accountability here. Oh, I went to a video seminar, dude. I did it. Yo, pat on the back, Lando. It was a drone seminar about how to. Yeah, it was a drone seminar for how to run a drone business by Vic Moss, and he's one of the main advocates for drones in the country. So that's a pat on the back. We get to cross that off the list. I set that up on the 9th. All right, edit. We need clients. We need clients. Radio High Society, Doug and Jim. Radio High Society, Doug and John. Not Jim. John. Practice editing. Edit. Slow-mo. Hyperlapse. AI and writing assistant. So I made a thing. I was listening to Alex Hormozy the other day, and he was talking about how you want to have a secondary offer once they join your like first initial offer, which is like an entry level offer, and you deliver for them. You want to have a secondary offer that you can rope them in for another longer period of time. So I restructured how I'm offering my business, and I have 3 different tiers now. I have like an entry level tier, which I'm calling like getting to know you tier, where if I don't know you, you don't know me. You can see samples of my work, but ultimately you want to see what returns I can do for you. So it'll be an entry level, project that hopefully where I deliver, then I can rope you into the next level, which is more of a relationship where I get you into a retainer. And now I'm charging $4,000 a month for the retainer, and it's a year long. So that's 48 grand, and I take a 50% deposit. So it's 24 grand up front. And you can opt out at 6 months if you don't like it. So yeah, that's this new thing that I just did the other day. So that's a pat on the back. We're figuring it out, man. It's like slow, but we're figuring it out. Went down to Natural Grocers, got some food, pat on the back, spent some of the last little bit of money that I have on groceries. So I got a fridge full of good food. Gotta automate my money. We need to write. I did write this morning. So that's a pat on the back. Yay, Landon. See, this is what happens when you start doing good. Like they start stacking up. It's not just one. Traveler's Guide to Aspen and the TV show. What else do we got? I'm hoping that you guys can hear this music. I don't know if you can. Memory. SD cards, hard drive, and Gmail. I did get my hunting license sorted. I'm going to go ahead and not pay for it, and I'm trying to get a secondary tag in the secondary draw. We got to post to IG all the reels that I finished. Yay! And learn to green screen, which is what we just were doing right there. Learn to green screen and bring in music. Music and videos on Restream, which I'm still learning how to do, but I'm going to cross it off this old list because it's fun to cross stuff off. Yay! So there you go. There's a little green book of accountability. We got to pat ourselves on the back quite a few times. We are definitely accomplishing stuff. And another one, which we got to keep on there, and we're going to go ahead and circle. We're not going to cross it off, but we did do it, which is cold call, baby. Cold call. So we're taking care of shit, and I got to say, I'm feeling a lot better than I was just a few days ago, both physically, mentally, emotionally. Not financially, but I guess emotionally, financially, I am. So let's go ahead and pause. Back at the chicken shack now that we're done. We got our background music done. Be interested to see if that comes through or not. We are at 27 minutes, so we'll check it out. This show is brought to you by Aspen Drone Company, my business. We do aerial video marketing and storytelling right here in Aspen. So if that's something that you need, feel free to contact us about our services. Now let's jump ahead to June 11th in the Daily Stoic, which is 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Thanks, guys, for putting this book together. It's very helpful to me, and I hope it's helpful to my audience, which is why I read from it every show. Now, today, June 11th, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm upbeat. I'm optimistic. I'm feeling accomplished. I've done it quite a bit. The main thing being starting doing some of these cold calls. It'll be great to get through to a client, not just leave a message. But I've begun that process, which just doing something that you don't want to do. And I had something that's been on my list of things to do for a long time. And now that I've overcome that, a lack of motivation or lack of a desire to do what I needed to do, I'm feeling particularly accomplished and proud of myself. Not to mention, over the last several months, I've really dialed in my house. I live in a really clean place now. It's basically where I want it. I would say it's at like 97%. I would love to get some new furniture. I would love to get a little bit more organized, but it went from about 80% to all the way up to 97%. That's been over the last 6 months since I've been broken around my house and not having much to do. So I'm living in a really great space, and it's not hard to return it to orderly and clean when it does get dirty because of how everything now has a place. So that's a pat on the back. So feeling accomplished, feeling motivated, feeling driven and proud of myself, feeling relaxed and healthy and not stressed out or anxious, even though there's a big part of me that is concerned for myself and my future. And that just doesn't serve me to give it any of my energy. So I try real hard not to pay mind to that and to just let myself feel that and let it go and get back into how incredible the quality of my life is and allow the universe to unfold perfectly, trusting that the process is happening for me and not to me, and that my suffering is helping for me to grow beyond what I would normally be capable of. And all of that has happened over the last few days. So let's take a look at what the Daily Stoic has to say today. June 11th. Just don't make things worse. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger and grief than the circumstances that arouse them in us. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 11.18.8. The first rule of holes goes, the adage is that if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. This might be the most violated piece of common sense wisdom in the world, because what most of us do when something happens, goes wrong, or is inflicted on us is make it worse. First is by getting angry or feeling aggrieved, and next by flailing around before we have much in the way of a plan. Today, give yourself the most simple and doable of tasks. Just don't make stuff worse. Whatever happens, don't add angry or negative emotions to the equation. Don't react for the sake of reacting. Leave it as it is. Stop digging, then plan your way out. And, this is one of the few times I feel like this isn't particularly relevant to anything. It's not helping me reframe my situation. The one thing that I would say is that I was echoing this idea that if the emotions of anxiety and fear and upset don't serve me, and so in that way, to feel them, even though I can feel them inside of me, it doesn't serve me. So I don't want to feed that energy. And in that way, that's something that it was saying is that don't make it worse, and that would just be making it worse. So I'm doing a pretty good job of being positive about my pretty shitty situation. And that is me doing my best not to make it worse. And I think that a younger me would have made it worse. And that's something that's come with time and age and experience and maturity is learning not to panic and learning that even when things are bad and I'm in an emergency kind of a situation, that time and breath and patience serve me more than a rash, emotional, short-sighted decision. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and send you out into the world with the idea that you can be patient, allow for your suffering to push you beyond what you're capable of. Don't make things worse, and do the things that you don't want to do that you know you should do to make your life better. It's hard. I know it. I'm doing it, and it's not easy. And so I can appreciate if you don't do it. But if there's any lesson that I can give you today, it would be to follow in my footsteps, make the cold calls, do the thing you don't want to do, and feel good about it when you get to the other side. Everything that you want to happen in life happens on the other side of doing the things you don't want to do. So, and there's no one coming to do it for you. So the sooner you get to doing it, the sooner you get to living your dream life. And it's going to take a long time, so you should start now. So, I'm your host, landing like a drone from Aspen Drone Company, and I'm taking off.